rabbis of yesteryear now. It's another special edition. We're speaking about Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrachi, one of the great Torah commentators of his day. He was a Chacham Bash, chief rabbi of the Ottoman Empire. He lived, reported over here, in between the years 1435 to 1526, quoting the Wikipedia Hebrew source in of itself. He would become a posek halacha, a great man that would have like huge worldly secular knowledge, also very much part of the Turkish Empire at that point in time. He would become a Rosh Yeshiva also, and famously try and do a perush on the Rashi's commentary of the Torah, something that is very, very well used here in modern day. Now, he was actually born, I believe, reported over between the years, there's varying years, between 1435 to 1437. I think there's another opinion that says it was around the 1450 time period in itself, but he was born in Kushta in Turkey. That place in time was a very, very growing and strong Jewish community in of its day, which we've spoken about many rabbis before, I think an old part of Constantinople, respectively. And he came from let's say a Romanian-ish family of the Balkans, respectively. This was a community that spoke, let's just say, ancient Greek, and very much, they didn't actually descend from the Spanish exile over here. They were, as they say in English, Romaniot Jews over there, the local Greek speaking in of itself. He studied Torah under the great Rabbi Eliyahu Halevi and Rabbi Yehuda Mintz of Padua. These were really great rabbis of the yesteryear. In fact, he was known as Mahari Mintz, Rabbi Yehuda Mintz was. And as a younger man, he would become a brilliant Gemara learner, Talmudist. He would study also secular sciences, especially mathematics and astronomy. He's reported over had to have been one of the first to derive a method for the extraction of the cube root. Very interesting enough. That's brilliant insight for mathematicians to know. And it's also reported over he was very great in and fluent in Arabic and Byzantine Greek also. Now it's interesting. Rabbi Moses Kapsali would be the Chacham Bashi, the chief rabbi of the Ottoman Empire before him. He passed away in 1495, and then Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrachi, I would assume, took over the role. There was the next one in the role, and he would take this position till I believe 1525, 1526, depending on the time period. He passed away. Let's just say the Chacham Bashi was a grand rabbi of the Ottoman Empire and very, very prominent position. Now, it's documented that he had a more mild attitude towards the Karaites at that point in time. I think this was an attitude and approach he got from his teacher, Rabbi Eliyahu Halevi, who I think even believed that it was permissible to teach the community, that community in of itself, Gemara, Talmud. Now let's explore some of the great works he had. Now, the Sefer Mizrachi is a great commentary on Rashi, on his commentary on the Torah itself, the 5 books of Moses. It's apparently counted in its own right as one of the most important commentaries on the Torah. It was published, I believe, after he passed away in the year 1527 in Venice, in Italy. And I think it was actually published by his son, Rabbi Yisrael Mizrachi. I think this commentary on Rashi is known even to nowadays in Jewish history as one of the most important works, let's just say, quoted by many. The work shows, let's just say, Rashi's Talmudic and Midrashic sources and elucidates to all the, let's say, more obscure passages. It was written, I think, partially to defend Rashi from, let's just say, strictures of the latter commentaries, especially from Nachmanides. I think there's a compendium by the famous Yaakov Markaria, who was known as an operator of the Jewish printing press, especially in Trento during the periods of 1558 to 1562. I think it was published under the title of the Kitzur Mizrachi. That was, I think, printed in Trento in 1561, to be precise. And later, I think, by Yitzchak HaKohen of Ostrach, respectively enough. I think that's a place in Ukraine, and it was entitled the Matanet, I think printed in Prague right at the start of the 1600s. Now, I think there was various different commentaries had been written even on Rabbi Mizrachi himself, including the Yerot Shlomo, actually from the great Rabbi Shlomo Moria, the Maharshal, also known as, was one of the great Ashkenazic poskim of his time. He was known for the Yam Shei Shlomo, great Talmudic commentary on the Chacham Shlomo Luria. Also, I think Barzali ben Baruch Jabez was a great Turkish Talmudic. The rabbi was of the 17th century. And Rabbi Shmuel Idols, I think, happened to be also a great rabbi, also known as Marsha, who we mentioned about before. Other great works that Rabbi Mizrachi would actually compose was Tosefet Smag. This was a Chidush on the Sefer Mitzvot Hagdol, also from, I think, Rabbi Moses ben Yaakov of Kosi. I think, or Rabbi Moses Mikosti, who was a great rabbi in of itself. There was a collection of responsa to Shvot to the Re'em. Remember, he was nicknamed the Re'em, I believe. There was a history of responsa in Judaism, I think a commentary on the 15th century. He also authored works on maths and science, including the Sefer HaMispar, which was arithmetic. It was commentary on Ptolemy's Almagest, it's reported over. I'm not too sure the date it was actually printed. Melechet HaMispar. It's also, and then there was a commentary on Euclid's, on the elements in of itself, the fundamental of mathematics text. Now, I'm not too sure the date that in of itself was actually. Now, among his rabbanim we mentioned before included Rabbi Eliyahu Halevi and Ben Rabbi Moshe Halevi Ashkenazi. These were great rabbis. Rabbi Mordechai Komtino, another great rabbi from the 15th century, and he would learn, as we said before on the outset, from Rabbi Yehuda Minsk, very great rabbi of his time. Now, he passed away, I believe, in Kushta. There's differing opinions. Opinion over here where I'm reading from Wikipedia actually says he was 91 years of age, but that obviously depends on the exact date he was born and the exact date he passed away. But he was a very great rabbi of his time. He would actually, interesting enough, you'd have I think Rabbi Nisim Chaim Moshe Mizrachi would be a descendant of him. He was chief rabbi between the years 1745 to 1749. I think his brother, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Mizrachi and Rabbi Reuven Mizrachi were among relatives of his. And they, so he had really, really great relatives in of itself. Remember, we said the family originally was actually from, I think, Greek heritage. And they actually talk about the greatness within regards to him. And Rabbi Yisrael Meir Mizrachi was a great responser of the Pri Haaretz, a very great rabbi. I think he was chief rabbi of Jerusalem at the time. Rabbi Reuven Mizrachi was his descendants, and very much, these were great rabbis, I think very much connected to the Balkan countries of their time, and the Romanian Jews. I recommend everyone to learn within regards to these great rabbanim in of itself per se, and and learn more about the great rabbis, the chief rabbis, the Chacham Bashi of their day. He was very much a great one of his time. He had connections, especially with various different other places. He was connected to the public affairs that was taking place in those times. I think it's reported that he would become one of the Sultan's advisors in Izmir, another place, I think, had a connection with the Mufti, about an imperial council, an imperial divan, if I'm not mistaken. There was an influx of Jewish people to Turkey. It began after, obviously, the expulsion of Jews from Spain, and he made efforts, the great Rabbi, the Ram, as they nickname him, efforts to facilitate their entry into the land in of itself. I think his son-in-law was great Rabbi Meshulam of Volitra. Also, he would bring about I think actually there will be the termination of the chief rabbinate in Turkey at that point in time. I'm not sure if after his death in Togram, respectively, in of itself, but I'm not sure. I'll double check on that. Friends or community who were learning about the great Oriental rabbis of yesteryear. Now, if you descend from any of the great Chachamim we're speaking about, please let me know. Please subscribe to the channel now. We're nearing 7,000 members. If anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share the videos to other people also. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom. Recording this just before Parashat Emor, just as Lag BaOmer is finishing, and blessings from Israel. Please subscribe to the channel now. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone.